Shall we talk some transfers, Scott Minto? Would you like that?
Yeah.
Let's bring in talkSPORT's transfer guru, Ben Jacobs. Ben, a very good afternoon. How are you, mate?
Good afternoon and good morning here from Los Angeles. You might just be able to see in the background the Hollywood sign, or certainly the hills behind me.
Is it sunny enough for sunglasses, Ben, or is it more of a fashion statement? That because it looks quite cloudy, and you've got a big pair of shades on.
Or has Ben just had a really good night?
Oh, that's a good question. Have you been to bed yet, Ben, or are you still just out after a good night out in America?
I mean, one, it's LA, so you can wear sunglasses indoor or outdoor. Two, we got off a red-eye flight from Chicago into Los Angeles at about 3 in the morning, and the third point to make is just I'm cool.
Yeah, you should have just gone, I'm cool, deal with it, leave me alone, and worry about your own fashion, Sam Ellard.
Drop the mic and walk off.
No, that would not have been good, because we do have some questions to ask you. Tottenham Hotspur are in the Premier League. Roberto De Zerbi is there for his first full season, and it looks like early on, Ben, they're looking to be pretty active.
Yeah, I think they're going to be very active. So Marcos Seneze is already agreed and in fact signed now a 4-year deal after he left Bournemouth on a free transfer. There was maybe some suggestions from outside sources that somebody else could enter that race. Manchester United had made a cursory inquiry. Of course, Andoni Iraola joining Liverpool and Ibrahima Konate leaving made some people ask me, is there going to be a twist here? But Tottenham were always confident because the player had given them their word and he's kept it and he's signed, and I expect that to be announced at some point, probably between now and before the window opens. Then Andy Robertson is already in. He's been announced by Tottenham. Jean-Paul Van Hecke is a very interesting one. Paul Barber, the CEO of Brighton, was on talkSPORT earlier today, and he said not one but 2 bids have been turned down. He didn't rule out a sale, but of course, as ever, the price has to be right for Brighton, so Tottenham could be back there. Then you have the left wing. They've really been looking for another left wing since last summer. They couldn't agree a deal with Manchester City back then for Savinho, but flash forwards 12 months and talks are back underway, and I think Manchester City may have a slightly different position. It was a flat, not for sale at any price last summer. Now there could be a little bit more engagement, and 12 months ago Tottenham were prepared to put down somewhere in the region of £60 million, even more sources say, in fact, with bonuses. Then central midfield, particularly a deeper lying midfielder, they need to resolve the future of João Paulinho, who's open to staying. The option to buy, though, wasn't triggered at the end of the season but could well be renegotiated still. If it isn't to be Paulinho, 6 becomes a priority, and then there's still a question mark as to whether Tottenham entertain offers for Richarlison, even though he was important last season, and if that's the case, a number 9 could be on the cards as well. So Tottenham are going to back Roberto De Zerbi, and they'll be one of the busiest clubs this summer.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of comings and goings, won't there, right up until deadline day, certainly for Spurs. What about Carl Rushworth as well then? Had a wonderful season for Coventry, but not actually a Coventry player. Will he be next season?
Yeah, Coventry trying. So yesterday a formal bid came in which we understand to be somewhere close to £20 million with add-ons included. So that's a huge fee for a goalkeeper that obviously Coventry rate very highly. Brighton need to decide what they're doing with their goalkeepers and whether Rushworth and Verbruggen's futures might be linked in any way. There's been no answer at the time I'm live, but of course that could change very quickly, so we'll keep you posted on that front. And Rushworth is open to joining Coventry City permanently, where he knows if that signing takes place, he'll be playing every week in the English top flight. So it's no real surprise that Frank Lampard and the recruitment team at Coventry are going big on Rushworth, and now they have to wait for Brighton's answer, which, if it comes quickly, I think will be viewed as a positive indication that they are prepared to sell, and then Coventry will have to understand whether that relatively big and competitive offer is good enough. If it comes a bit slower, then it might be Brighton delaying whilst they work out what they want to do with their goalkeepers.
talkSPORT reporter Anil Kundola covers Coventry regularly, has just said to me he's the future England #1. High praise. Ben, in my running order, it says Michael Elise latest. Which looks quite exciting because it feels like you've now got some news, which means that he might not, like, my guess would be he's going to just be at Bayern Munich next season because Bayern Munich are really good and so is Michael Elise. But the fact that it says Michael Elise latest, I have a tiny bit of confidence now you might tell me he's not just going to be at Bayern Munich next season.
Is he the Real Madrid mystery Galactico?
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you spoilt it now, but yes, absolutely. He is the mystery Galactico.
And he's put sunglasses on. Ben, and he's put sunglasses on too as well to try and copy you. As well,
I haven't,
absolutely
Ben.
bang out of order. Ceiling at transfer stories and got the shades on.
Starting a trend at the World Cup. I think everyone that arrives now in sunglasses is going to be taking a leaf out of Ben Jacobs' book. But yeah, Michael Elise is the player, even though he tried to downplay it publicly, that Florentino Perez in the build-up to these presidential elections had said very clearly is the one that he wants to spend 150 million euros on. And when I say said very clearly, he tried to downplay it publicly, but sources in and around Real Madrid have kind of pushed him since, both publicly and privately. And it's obvious that that is the player now, not Vitinha, not João Neves, the one that Florentino Perez has claimed after the presidential election, should he win, he'll make a bid for, is going to be Michael Elise to the tune of 150 million euros. Now, of course, any club can put in a bid. York City could say, we want to spend $1 billion on Kylian Mbappe.
Good
and
team.
in likelihood, Real Madrid would say no, but it doesn't mean that that bid wasn't placed. So I think this is gamesmanship from Florentino Perez, and by instance is very clear that Michael Elise is not for sale. There's other signings, though, that are going to come in and are not part of the games. One is Denzel Dumfries and the other is Ibrahima Konate on a free transfer, who has agreed terms over a 4-year contract. So Florentino Perez has got a luxury in the sense that he is still president, so he can just make signings, and then in campaigning to be president, he's given loftier ambitions, and both candidates have done it, to be honest. You may remember the other candidate said that he's got an agreement in place with Erling Haaland that was ferociously denied by those close to the player, and also Manchester City as well. So it's fascinating, because imagine if in England you had a top Premier League club, even though they don't hold presidents usually, sometimes presidents of business or operations, and if they had some form of election or campaigning for the role and they just started chucking all their targets out there in public, it wouldn't be the done thing in England. So it's been fascinating to watch these Real Madrid presidential elections, but it would be absolutely jaw-dropping, staggering, and basically impossible if Michael Elise, despite whether a bid is or isn't actually made, left Bayern Munich this summer.
At least Perez, I suppose, was the clever of the two by not naming Michael Elise rather than the other one talking about Erling Haaland, which isn't going to happen. But what about Jan Diamande as well? He's still a teenager. Any chance of him coming to the Premier League?
Oh, I think we might have lost Ben Jacobs there. Let's see if we can try and get Ben back. Yeah, asking there about.
He was looking
Diamande.
too cool there. Wasn't
Yeah,
he?
looking there, asking there about Diamande. By the way, in the tennis, in that fourth set, Zverev is 2-1 up in sets, and Koboli leads 3-2. He has broken, but Zverev has now got a break opportunity. Koboli's first serve goes out and it is returned. We'll try and get Ben Jacobs back, and we can hear all about Mr. Diamande. To be honest with you, I actually wanted to ask him just what he's up to this week. I kind of, because he's a talkSPORT transfer guru, football correspondent. In fact, let's ask him. He's back now. Ben, but Scott was asking about Diamande and possibility, the chance of Diamande coming back to the Premier League, Ben? Or to the Premier League? We will maybe get back to Ben Jacobs very, very sure. I guess we're not going to know what Ben Jacobs is up to this week.
Well, you want to know that, don't you?
No, because obviously, if you're a football commentator out there, I kind of know what you're doing. I'm probably doing commentaries, you're prepping for games. But being a transfer guru, how is he finding out his information? What is he doing? Where is he basing himself? Who's he going for dinner with tomorrow night? Is he hanging out with Crookie, or he and Crookie on other sides of the country?
Crookie or George Clooney with him being in Hollywood.
Yeah, there we go. These are the things I want to know all about.
And we can't get him back by.
Okay, well, Ben is there.
He is there.
Ben is there. So I think the rule of radio is first time it can happen. Second time is not ideal. If it goes third time, we will just break. Ben Jacobs, Jan Diamande to the Premier League.
Yeah, Liverpool are trying. PSG are there as well. A few technical gremlins are taking place here. In fact, my producer is being heroic and is gathering all of our equipment and holding it beneath the camera to make sure that we've got a perfect connection and it doesn't drop out again. But yeah, Jan Diamande, Liverpool are trying. So they're actually engaged formally at the moment with Leipzig, and they've already made contact with the player who's here at the World Cup with the Ivory Coast. So this is going to be fascinating to see whether we get any progress now and somebody tries to make a quick move, or if the World Cup kind of stagnates this. And Leipzig are open and have a good relationship with Liverpool to speaking, but it's more about they don't have an answer from Diamande yet as to whether he's going to stay or goes. There's three parts to this story as it stands: Liverpool, PSG and Leipzig trying to get the player to sign a new deal. And until Diamande communicates to Leipzig if he will or won't, that's not going to alter the number, which is extremely high, in excess of 100 million euros, because obviously Leipzig don't want to give any encouragement with a potentially lower number until Diamande makes it crystal clear whether or not he's prepared to sign a new deal, end speculation and stay until summer 2027. But Liverpool are trying. They have made some progress on the player side. PSG can't be discounted. Man United now not really active. They were a few weeks ago, but they were pitching to Diamande, you're playing on the left, whereas Liverpool and PSG like him as a right-sided predominant player, and that is his preferred side as it stands, even though he started his career on the left-hand side. And of course the backhanded encouragement for Liverpool, even though it's not great if PSG were to beat them to Diamande, is then it makes it a bit more likely that Bradley Barcola, another Liverpool target, becomes available on the market.
Ben Jacobs, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day and we'll chat to you soon.
Look forward to it.
That is talkSPORT's Ben Jacobs, the transfer guru out in America, doing some wonderful work.